Hey guys, King Kaiju here, back today with another Kaiju review. So last time we had a look at the Bandai Premium King Ghidorah, which was a fantastic figure. In fact, it's the favorite Kaiju I own in the collection, as I stated. But today we're going to be looking at a figure which is debatably even better, the Bandai Dodongo. Obviously, I am kidding with that, but this figure still is a interesting one. I'll say something nice about it first. It's definitely very intriguing. It has a quite interesting design, and of course it was in the original Ultraman. You know, there's nothing bad about having a kaiju from there in the collection. And while I never particularly looked for this guy, I did get him in that big ass lot I showed a while ago. And while he was not going to be a figure that I had to look at, I decided fuck it, there isn't a ton of Dodongo reviews on YouTube, probably for good reason, so I'll add mine to the bunch. And with my furry little feline friend in tow, let's get into the details section of this guy. So this is a pretty old Bandai figure, as it's pretty easy to tell. I'm pretty sure this guy came out in 1994, if I've heard right. And he looks pretty good. You know, the detail on him is not too bad. He has that kind of old Bandai aesthetic where they kind of just globbed the paint everywhere, but I don't mind that. The Batcher figure had that sort of thing going for it. Nothing wrong at all with that up until you get into the head, where there is a few problems. For one thing, the lips have this very weird color to them. I'm not sure if the original suit had this painted on lip effect, but on the figure it does not look very good. Also, the eyes are just the base vinyl color. They didn't add any specific sort of coloring to them, which is not how Dodongo looked in the show. I do know that for a fact. And also, weirdly, kind of going back into that same thing I talked about with Telestone a couple reviews back, he's posed so weirdly. I'm not exactly sure why, but Dodongo is looking up into the sky here, whenever in the actual episode his head was looking more normally straight. So why he is permanently looking up to God, I have absolutely no idea. It's not a very fun design choice in my opinion, because it just makes him look weird. You know, you have him facing off against another monster. I'll take out Gyarados for example. You know, Gyarados is ready to fight here, but Dodongo is just like, no, I don't really want to. So with detail mid and out of the way, the articulation is not too much better. First of all, the wings can individually rotate, so you can have them, you know, move up and down and all that. And as you can tell, they're quite stiff, especially this one for whatever reason, I don't know why. And the midsection has a little bit of articulation. It's very hard to do, but you can get him to slightly turn a little bit. So I am not even going to call that 3 points. I think that's more so 2.5. They're not the best. I would have liked to see something in the legs, maybe something up here at the head. I don't mind the fact that it has neck articulation, but if it's going to be so stiff, why even put it there? The wings are a nice highlight though. Even most Ghidorah figures don't have that, so I don't mind. Now let's go on to sizing. I do not have the original Ultraman, so instead I'm going to pull out his close ripoff counterpart, Jet Jaguar. And now we get into yet another problem this figure has. Let me zoom the camera out a little bit. He's kind of short. He is not that tall. Now Jet, to be fair, is about 6.5 inches, so he is going to be a little bit taller than most standard figures, but I don't think Dodongo is even 6 inches tall. I would more so say that he's probably like 5'11". Now to reinforce that point home even further, here is Bemular, and he's even way too tall for the camera. Hold on. Now Bemular is quite a taller monster, but still, I think Dodongo should at least be like, you know, this maybe to him, but instead he's just kind of looking up at him here. And now taking out the last review I did, which is on a much better figure, the Bandai Premium Ghidorah. And moving the camera back again, you can really see how short he is. This is like Gigan levels of short, which is meh. Ghidorah is the far superior dragon, and it looks like he would probably eat Dodongo for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with all three of his heads. Moving our favorite green pal back into the center here, that's going to be the end of the Dodongo review, you guys. I do appreciate you all for watching, although I'm not exactly sure what enjoyment anyone got from this guy. I still think it's cool though that we do have a somewhat in-scale Dodongo, and I mean, there aren't really any others out there to my knowledge, so this is the best one he got. That being said, I don't think that there's a single Dodongo fan out there in existence. In case you want to add him to your collection, there is a figure of him out there. And as always, about the price, this guy actually really doesn't go for too much on his own. I think at most I've seen him go for like $50, and even then I don't think he ever sells for that much. I would get him for 30 at most and 15 at a good deal, because realistically I think that the Telestone figure that I reviewed is probably better than this guy is. But thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.